My maternal grandmother, Hattie Pearl Reed Moore, would stand tall, spread her feet apart, place her hand firmly on her hip, and she would say, "I am Hattie Moore. I am somebody." My grandmother was born on March 28th, 1909 in Crystal Springs, Mississippi, a time that was very different than when I was born in 1959. I can only imagine what life was like during her childhood and her young adult years in Mississippi before she came up north. But my grandmother, my mama, she was a proud, hardworking, accomplished Christian woman. And she would set us down often and remind us that we needed to believe that we were somebody too. I didn't know at the time why this was so important to her. I didn't know where she learned it, or what life in the early 1900s in Mississippi had put her through. But it was a lesson I carried with me and found that I have had to draw on it when faced with situations, people who try to knock me down. Let me tell you about my retirement celebration on December 2nd, 2014. I started as an assistant manager in 1990, and I was retiring as director of one of the largest service departments at the university. I like to say I grew up at the university because as a young girl, I would go to the football games to see my future brother-in-law Walt on the field. It was a beloved place for me. The MC for the ceremony was introducing the next speaker. The speaker was my immediate supervisor, and it was his time to say a few words about me and my career at the university. I had worked with him for over 13 years, and he was my immediate supervisor at least the last 4 years. Historically, when someone is retiring from my institution, this was a time for the supervisors to talk about their accomplishments, their career highlights, their contributions, any awards or recognition that they've achieved. These events usually involve the retiree's family, community members, colleagues, and coworkers. And they were always gracious affairs. This event, it was not just special to me because I was retiring. It was even more special because my 87-year-old mother, Josephine, was at the event. My mother, she never saw me run track or cheer during my junior and high school years. She never saw me compete as a member of my high school speech team. She wasn't present when I was announced as a member of my high school homecoming court. And she never got to see me act in To Kill a Mockingbird. No, she missed so many of my events because of health reasons. But she was present that day. The location, well, it was special too. It was in the same building where my parents and my grandparents got to watch me walk across the stage and receive my bachelor's degree in 1982, and for my hooding ceremony for my master's degree in 1984. This day would even be more special because it would be the only retirement reception that my late mother would ever attend for any of her 10 children. I was so happy to have her there, along with family and friends. And y'all, I just got to tell you this, the room, it was full. Packed, all right? So, my supervisor is at the microphone, and it goes something like this. During lunch, I decided on what I would say today. I looked in Arlene's file, and it was empty. There was nothing there. So I decided to Google her name to find out something about her. And there was a lot there. Now, y'all, here's the thing. As supervisors, we keep a file for every employee. It contains past evaluations. For some people, letters of discipline, notes, good, bad, any recognitions, any awards, etc. Mine, he told all of us, was empty. A bit later, he was saying something that he found out about me again on Google, and he referred to me as a he. Well, several people in the audience said, she's a she. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. He let us all know then that he had smeared some peanut butter and jelly on the paper since he was composing it during his lunch break. As he was speaking, I thought about all of our one-on-ones where I talked about my family. I talked about being on boards of directors for several nonprofits in the community. We had conversations about my leadership team and how we worked with student managers and how we changed all the meal plans and we did multi-million-dollar renovations of dining centers. And we designed and we acquired new concepts in our student center. Now, I don't recall everything that was said. Perhaps I was in shock, embarrassed, and bewildered after learning that my employee file was empty and that my immediate supervisor had to Google my name for his speech, and that he wrote his comments while chowing down on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich during his lunch break. However, I was happy. I was so happy because there were people there who talked about their professional and their personal relationship with me and the contributions that I made on campus and in the community and in the lives of others. I want to say thank you tonight to Linda. I want to thank you, Pat. And I want to thank my sister-in-law, Terry. They talked about me. And those women didn't Google my name at all. Now, shame on me. I should not have expected more from this man who told me that I was an embarrassment to the university. When I followed his directive, I carried out his plan while he was vacationing in the Greek Isles. Now, in that moment, I knew I had a choice. I could let the anger and the disgust well up and ruin my party. I could ignore it and pretend that I wasn't insulted by Dr. PB and J's lack of respect and decency. I could let this man make me believe that I wasn't worthy of a proper speech, that my 25 years of hard work and contribution didn't matter. Or I could see that God places people in your life for a reason, even if they're bad bosses, to help you find your strength to believe in yourself. And at that moment, I remembered my mama. Because for a significant portion of her life, society in America told her and treated her as though she was not somebody important and worthy. Maybe she found her inspiration in a poem written by Reverend William Holmes Border Sr. I am somebody. And she would stand in front of her grandchildren with her hands on her hips, and she would recite loudly, I am somebody. And so, I enjoyed the rest of my retirement party. I allowed my friends and my family to celebrate me and my accomplishments. And I made my mother so proud. And when I feel like the world is setting me up to fail, I stand tall. I spread my feet apart. I place my hands on my hips. And I say, I am Arlene Hosea. And y'all, I am somebody.